Fox News contributors Tammy Bruce and Lawrence Jones and civil rights attorney Darrell Parks. Tammy, to you first. The Democrats in Virginia, this is just complete chaos for them now. And now they have two problems here. It's really a binary thing, power or principles, because the person in line of succession after Mark Herring is a Republican. But their principles from the Kavanaugh situation in the past have been clear. So if they're going to stick to their principles, they have a clear political power problem. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, the principles for Democrats, that's kind of an oxymoron right there, because this is what's happened. Men now, they get no due process under any circumstance, right? Due process is blown up. Women are now clearly been made into irrelevant, weaponized, additional victims of opportunity when it comes to a political option. If you're the right kind of woman making the right kind of accusation against the right kind of person, i.e. a conservative or a Republican, you're going to be taken seriously. And in this case now, it seems to be so serious that they've got to apply, yes, and they're trying to apply that same standard of no due process. And you heard in that press conference there a moment ago, someone in the background was saying, but how do you know they're telling the truth? How do you know they're telling the truth? Right. And look, women are credible. I want women to be taken seriously. That's part of the dynamic of justice. But in this particular dynamic, they're saying, well, this rises to something more serious, whereas, in fact, these are accusations at this point. There's been no legal framework. And when it comes to the blackface episodes, the issues some are saying are racist episodes, those are actually in public, have occurred. There's no real debate over their existence. And if it is about character and principles, why aren't they being held to a similar standard about the nature of who's going to be holding office in Virginia? Yeah.
Darrell, let me go to you. Darrell, during the Kavanaugh case, a lot of Democrats were quick to jump out in front of the cameras, immediately demand Brett Kavanaugh take his name out of the running for the Supreme Court position. And what's interesting is in that case, the evidence was thin at best in many cases. Everybody treated the evidence seriously, but it was thin. In this case against Justin Fairfax, and he has the right to be heard like anyone else, he has the right to due process, but the evidence here is very specific, named on the record witnesses. Why did some Democrats take so long, if they stand by these principles, to come out and demand the same for Lieutenant Governor Fairfax?
Well, I think he deserves due process as well.
I agree.
These are accusations against him. I mean, they're accusations, and I think that they have to be vetted. They should be taken seriously, though, Don. I think the accusations made by the women are serious, but they should be investigated, and he should have his day. Mm-hmm. It's not right that he should have to outright resign and not have a chance to face his accusers, not have a chance to hear all of the facts. And so I think we need to let this run its course.
Darrell, I don't disagree with you one bit. I mean, I've been consistent on this from the start. I said the same thing about Kavanaugh. I'm just asking you simply why the Democrats didn't give that same standard of justice to Brett Kavanaugh when he was in that position. That's all I'm asking you. I mean, why not? Why was he? What was different about his case?
Well, I think it's two different scenarios. Now, you have a Supreme Court justice nominee in front of a committee, and here. Yes, it does matter. One person has not achieved office yet. One is in office.
Yeah. Oh, so the crime doesn't matter. The alleged crime. So it only matters for women and protecting women when the person is going to a high office.
Yeah. Well,
there's a difference too. I think you also have to vet the situation. Remember now, with
Darrell, hold on. Time out. Let me go to Lawrence. Lawrence, hold on 1 second. Darrell, hold on. Let me get Lawrence in here.
I just can't take this nonsense.
I'm having a hard time with it too, because the problem I have, Lawrence, in the Kavanaugh case is not only was there a lack of evidence, in many cases there was anti-evidence. There was negative evidence. In other words, some of the information that was put out there turned out to be absolutely categorically incorrect by the names offered up by Dr. Ford herself, and yet Democrats jumped the gun on Kavanaugh. That's my problem with this.
That's exactly right. The evidence wasn't there. They kept changing their stories, including Dr. Ford as well. And now you're seeing, look, I believe in due process. I believe in the right for people to face their accuser. But that's not what the Democrats believe in. And now in order to protect their own, they're changing their story. Look, I have a lot of problems with this case as well. One being that the people that are accusing Fairfax don't want to go through the criminal justice process. They have been open with that. They don't want a real investigation. investigation, especially since the statute of limitation has not even ended in this case.
Yeah, but Lawrence, that's
again,
because you and I have been consistent on
that's
this. We have
right.
said in both cases that, Tammy, I want to bring you in here, as I know Lawrence has been consistent on this too, that if your principles are, listen, due process matters. Accusations are not evidence. Evidence is evidence. And if everybody is given their chance, eventually this will work out. That's been the standard since the founding of the constitutional republic.
This has been the problem when the Democrats were assigned being the protectors of women, that the owners of this issue, it becomes weaponized and partisan. And as a result, they're going to use it in that kind of way. It eliminates the seriousness of the issue. All women begin to be looked at as unserious and as dangerous, and it becomes transactional in nature. And this is why, for women, realizing that the Democrats within this framework, they can demand that Justin Fairfax resign, but in the meantime, they've destroyed the seriousness of this issue that we've worked on for decades to elevate. And in the meantime, the Democrats continue to lie to women that they're the ones who represent them both the best. Women have got to look to both parties, spread their influence, and have both work for solutions to issues as opposed to using our lives as weapons against your political opponents, because that's what the Democrats have done here.
There's not a
on every issue
consistent bone in their
concerning women.
bodies.
Well, including abortion, by the way.
Dan, let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me say this. I think it's not a Democratic issue. Different people can see this issue different ways. For example, I probably disagree vehemently with the Democrat from Northern Virginia who's just on TV grandstanding against Lieutenant Governor Fairfax. I think that his jump to impeach him about a past event is crazy. Now, I think you can't make it a Democratic or Republican thing.
No,
Different
Daryl,
people
it is
see it different
hold on,
ways.
stand by, Daryl. It is a Democrat or Republican issue because the Democrats made it that way. Not me, Lawrence, or
exactly
Tammy.
Right.
We've been very consistent. We said Democrat or Republican, you are entitled to your day in court. You're entitled to defend yourself, the integrity of your name and your character. We have never said any different. It's the Democrats during the Kavanaugh situation that insisted that the standard was different for Kavanaugh. Do you see why people like us might be a little upset? Nothing's changed. Fairfax deserves his day in court. So did Kavanaugh. But Kavanaugh, the evidence wasn't nothing like they have now. That's our problem, Daryl.
And they still destroyed him.
Yeah. Well, and let's just remind ourselves here. We do have definite character issues when it comes to Northam and the other. Is it Huggins or who's the Herring? Definite admitted character issues, and yet of these men. It is the African-American man who is going to be the one who will be effectively forced out when this is a character issue across the board with the Democrats. And, boy, what does that tell you if it is the black man who's the one that has to go first?
Lawrence, 30 seconds, last word.
Because they want to protect their power, and he's not in their inner circle. So they're circling the wagons. The Democrats have not been consistent on this issue, and that's why we're heated on this panel, because I wish Kavanaugh was given the same grace and the opportunity to present his case like this guy is being given.
Yeah, you're darn right.
Fairfax is fighting for now, though.
All right, guys, I got to run. Tammy, Lawrence, Daryl, thank you so much. That was a real great discussion. Thanks for joining us tonight.